We're going to go over the North. We haven't decided to continue this little series where we break down all the projected records and projected points for every division because we got sidetracked by all kinds of news and such. But we're here now to take care of the NFC North. We're going to break down the NFC North. We're going to talk about all the news that's sitting there in fantasy land right now. Keaton Mitchell, baby. Keaton Mitchell is going to be a midseason monster. Oh, actually, Revenge Tour. Mid-season monster, Revenge Tour. You know, he could be either one. He could be both, actually. But Revenge Tour, coming back from the injury. News about him running a clocked at a speed of 22.4 miles per hour. Love this kid. He's kind of an Achane 2.0. He was averaging about 8 yards per carry, like Achane was, 7.8 yards per carry. They're kind of very similar players. We're breaking that and breaking down the NFC North live on the channel. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
So we'll break down the North in a second. I'll give you projections for all the major players. We'll do it live. But right now, let's get on over to the news and just suggest real quickly that you keep this guy on your radar. You keep him on your mind. You make sure you draft him. You make sure you scoop him up in leagues where people have forgotten about him. There is a lot of potential with this kid to be the next Devon Achane, potential, wide back, essentially. There's also a lot of risk that this team has plans to put other players in prominent positions if something were to happen to Derrick Henry. Now, real quickly, just a note that Adam Sandler is reportedly Derrick Henry is a big fan of Adam Sandler, and Derrick Henry said that if he ran for 2,000 yards or he asked if he could be put in an Adam Sandler movie, Adam Sandler then sent him a video message back and said, "You get 2,000 yards. Not only will I put you in a movie, but we'll have a dinner together and hang out and such." So Henry's going to be fully motivated, but that doesn't mean it's going to go well for Henry. And I'm not wishing ill will upon Henry. We hope King Henry can stay healthy for another 50 years and do what he's doing. But if he doesn't, this guy right here is a potential league winner with risk that the team doesn't know how good he is. The Ravens running back Keaton Mitchell told ESPN that he overcame mental challenges. You always have these with ACL recoveries, hence why when people say, oh yeah, Ayuk's going to be fine, everything's going to be back to normal by midseason, ACL recoveries are a lot of times rough because you have to establish a mental connection with your knee. You'll literally be walking and you'll say, I'm going to cut right, and your knee doesn't move and your body goes this direction, but you don't cut. You have to actually reestablish a connection with your knee. So your speed is off. So if anybody says, oh yeah, I'm cutting fine, I'm going to be 100% after an ACL tear, not everybody's Adrian Peterson. There is still a lot that goes on mentally for somebody that has something like that going on. So make sure you understand that this is not always a quick process for somebody. And just because they don't recover very well from their first year back from an ACL tear, that they're lost, they're gone, they're never going to return to form. So Keaton Mitchell's a really, really nice prospect for anybody that's looking for a nice stab in the dark. McLaurin is obviously in holdout mode, probably turns into hold-in mode, which means he shows up and doesn't get fined, but essentially he's holding out with a fake injury. That's usually what happens. But speaking on 106.7 The Fan, Albert Breer said that Terry McLaurin is likely to seek a contract extension averaging at least $30 million per year. Probably going to get that done. And I think it's going to get done sooner than later. I don't think this is something that will drag out. He deserves it. They know they need him. He's a fantastic wide receiver. Him and Debo are going to be one of the more underrated receiving rooms in the National Football League. I think the tripod of Debo, McLaurin, and JD5 ranks up there quietly. People don't talk about it. Quietly as a top 5, 6, 7 overall combo, maybe top 5, locked into the top 5. JD5 is that good. Debo is going to have a great year. McLaurin, you know how he's going to bring it in 2025. Both of them are older wide receivers. Is the rookie Lane a guy that could rise up? Will they potentially draft someone next year? Will they make a trade for somebody? Who knows? Trevor Lawrence. Coach Liam Cohen said Trevor Lawrence has drastically improved his footwork and his operation and is operating at a high level inside the offense. Nice to hear. Of course, the coach is going to talk up his quarterback, especially one that struggled. Not that it's really been all his fault. He's in a revolving door of different coaches and schemes every single year. I don't know a quarterback that's gone through more ups and downs around him than Trevor Lawrence. And for the most part, still doing what he did with BTJ last year. We know that the talent is in the arm. It's going to be about reconstructing Trevor Lawrence's approach, his mental capacity, his confidence, and his execution. It's not about talent. We all know we were correct. No one was wrong when we said Trevor Lawrence was one of the better quarterback prospects to come out of the college game for some time, maybe a decade at the time when he came out. Obviously, JD5, took that spot and ran with it, and he's the best prospect to come out of college in the last 20, 30, maybe ever. JD5 is the guy. But Trevor Lawrence, for his time, was one of the best quarterbacks to come out of college. And we weren't wrong. The whole industry loved him. Everybody, the whole entire fantasy football community loved him. And we still believe in him to a degree. Do we think he's top 5 material? The top 5 is loaded with monsters. So maybe not top 5, but could he be Baker Mayfield meets what Jared Goff has been playing at that level? Like, can you prop up Trevor Lawrence to play top 7, top 8, top 9 football? And that is enough to feed BTJ and Travis Hunter to the tune of both being top 12 wide receivers. Don't think Trevor Lawrence has to be a top 5 or 6 guy to feed 2 wide receivers and make both of them top 12 wide receivers. Travis Hunter is a Jupiter man.
The Jupiter men. Jupiter is so large, every planet in the solar system could fit inside it. There are no bigger monsters than the Jupiter men.
Since before February, we've been talking up Travis Hunter since, December, November, early last year. But as far as putting him on the list officially, making him a supernova, we've been talking about Travis Hunter when people have been scared like Scotty. Scared little Scotty. Smitty, he's not going to play wide receiver. What if a team drafts him and they only play him a wide receiver? I'm going to go ahead and wait. While you waited, we cleaned up on Underdog promo code Smitty, which if you want to draft with us tonight, make sure you hit the link I'm about to drop in the live chat right now. I'll pin the said link in live chat right now, and they'll match your first deposit 50% all the way up to $1,000. So if you drop $50, they'll give you $25. You drop the minimum $10, they'll give you $5. You drop $2,000, they'll give you $1,000. All the way up to $1,000, they'll match your first deposit 50% in bonus credit in your account. Do it live. Draft with us tonight. I just pinned the link. And Travis Hunter, we took in round 8, 9, 10. We cleaned up. We cooked. Everybody else watched.
Let him cook.
Smitty, I'm scared. We weren't scared. We did it live. And even though Hunter's risen into the 4-round territory, Grandma League's round 5, we're still cooking.
Let him cook.
And I've already made it abundantly clear that Travis Hunter, in my opinion,
the Jupiter men. Jupiter is
this
so
guy.
Large.
This guy.
Every planet in the solar system could fit inside it. There are no bigger monsters than the Jupiter men.
I made it abundantly clear that this guy, Travis Hunter, is going to be a top 5 to 8 dynasty wide receiver. This guy will be a top 10 wide receiver as a rookie. And whatever that means for BTJ, you can get mad at me all you want. Doesn't mean BTJ falls out of the top 10. They both can be 8 and 9. And as Travis said, Travis is in the building, as he said yesterday, very good point. Aaron Rodgers wasn't all that good last year. Guess who was wide receiver 10 and 11 last year? Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams. If Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams can be 10 and 11 with Aaron Rodgers in that Jets offense last year, why are people beefing with the idea and concept that both Hunter and BTJ are top 10? Stop with the nonsense. Stop with the repeating Roger. You hear it from another channel. I heard it from another channel. Smitty.
Hello.
Hello.
I heard it from another channel. They said they can't both coexist. Trevor Lawrence would have to be a top 5 QB.
He saw it on another channel. He's
Not-
a repeating Roger.
Repeating Roger. Not true. Not true at all. Stop with it. Just the constant blah, blah, blah. You're just repeating, regurgitating what you're hearing. This guy's a top 5 to 8. Look, Mom, I can count. Top 5 to 8 dynasty wide receiver. Top 10 redraft wide receiver. You don't want to be on board? Good. I hope more of you are not on board. The real OGs in here know what time it is and we're cooking.
Let him cook.
Back on point. I get sidetracked so easy. Travis, hang tight. We'll talk about you, Travis Hunter, in just a little bit. Travis Hunter, you've got enough screen time right now, young man. We're talking about this right here. So his quarterback, he needs to be revived. Who better than Liam Cohen, who revived Baker Mayfield, made Baker score 40 TDs. We don't need Trevor Lawrence to score 40 TDs to support what I just suggested, but it would be nice. It would be nice. And if anybody can revive him, it would be Liam Cohen. And if anybody could be revived, it would be Trevor Lawrence. Does Trevor Lawrence not fit the bill for the next Baker Mayfield type project for Liam Cohen? Can anybody think of a better QB? The answer is no. It's a hypothetical. Can anybody think of a better QB than Trevor Lawrence to be in the same situation? Some might say Darnold, but he already was in that situation and fell on his face in Minnesota at the end of the year. But is there another quarterback that has the Baker Mayfield situation? Or could he be revived and handed 2 top 10 wide receivers, handed Liam Cohen? It's the best recipe for a revitalization of Trevor Lawrence and an explosion at the wide receiver position. Think of Mike Evans. Think of Godwin when he was healthy. Think of Mike Evans and Godwin and McMillan, Jalen McMillan. Think of Bucky. This entire offense over in Tampa Bay, Liam Cohen's offense. It was so good that how can you not be excited for Travis Hunter, for Trevor Lawrence, especially BTJ, and for the running stable, which we don't know. It's confusing which one's going to be the Bucky. We don't know. So Trevor Lawrence looking good, better than looking bad. No one's saying that this tells us much, but better than looking bad. Better than hearing from beat writers that he's struggling. I'd rather hear that he's doing good. We don't know what it means yet, but it's early, but that's okay. Better news it's better than bad news. Broncos head coach Sean Payton told reporters that Troy Franklin is doing well at organized team activities. This is a pretty underrated QB or wide receiver room over in Denver. Very underrated. This is one of those wide receiver rooms that at the end of the year we're still a little bit in flux in terms of knowing which wide receivers are going to do what and how much and how frequent and how much it'll get spread around. But what we do know is there's a quarterback with a particular set of skills that he's learned over a long career, skills that make him a nightmare for your league mates. And he is the one who knocks. Bo Nix is a top 6 QB. It's coming. You're either on board or you're not on board. Decide now, because the train's leaving.
Let him cook.
Bo Nix to the moon. Bo Nix, can I get some Bo Nix eggplant emojis, fire emojis, flexing emojis, thumbs up, whatever indicates excitement for you? Put it in the chat next to Bo Nix's name, and let's bring it to fruition. Bo Nix is going crazy. So as far as what receivers, Sutton, obviously the king of the wide receiver room probably, but you've got a rookie, a nice young exciting rookie in Bryant. You got Troy Franklin. You got the incoming veteran tight end that's kind of going to share the Joker role with RJ Harvey and Ingram. Ingram's going to be a good option for Bo Nix. But you more importantly have this RJ Harvey character that we have people running their mouth about. We'll probably talk more about RJ Harvey tonight. I don't want to go through all of it right now, but RJ Harvey is catching everything. In camp, he's catching everything. In mandatory. Look, this guy, one beat writer wrote that he couldn't find a drop. He caught everything that was thrown his way. Then you have Sean Payton preemptively caution everybody that if, let's say, the hypotheticals, he struggles with pass protection, doesn't know pass protection, Sean, what are you going to do? Keep him on the field for 3 downs? Is he a 3-down back? What does Sean Payton say in preemptive measurement type of approach with this thing? Because he had not been on the field yet. They were talking about weeks ago. Hey, Sean Payton, what are you going to do? Is he a 3-down back? Give us the skinny. Sean Payton said, Darren Sproles wasn't out there blocking linebackers. He said occasionally he would, and I made him a promise that would not be on a consistent, basis. But he said, Sproles, once in a while you might have to make this block or whatever. But he put Sproles in position to just catch the ball on 3rd down. So Sean Payton said, we got packages for that. Whenever he's on the field, which will be 3 downs, he's a 3-down back. Sean Payton said he's a 3-down back. He's going to be on the field on 3rd downs. He'll be on the field on 3rd downs. And when he is, they'll construct a play, architect a play so he's involved offensively. He doesn't need to block. And people still run their mouth repeating Rodgers, drop the parrot emoji. I heard on another channel that he's bad in pass protection, so he probably won't be on the field on 3rd downs. Probably won't be on the field on 3rd down, Smitty. Wrong. I'm telling you that is wrong. Categorically wrong. Because Sean Payton's already told you that he will be on the field on 3rd down.
Wrong. Muy mal.
So the fact that anybody's even arguing this still is asinine to me. But this is preemptive. This is before Harvey was on the field. What has Harvey done the last handful of days, 2 days in a row right now? Looked remarkable. Looked explosive, looked powerful, looked like a veteran, catching everything thrown his way, playing 3rd downs, thighs the size of Saquon Barkley, which is going to be a storyline all in itself. Just get ready. Remember, I told you, he's got Saquon's thighs. This guy's an absolute beast. And Sean Payton said, we don't like small running backs. We like big running backs. He's not small. He's big. He might be short, but he's not small. And he's not. He has Saquon Barkley's frame and build. He's just a little shorter, but he looks like Barkley. He runs like Barkley. He runs like Marshawn Lynch meets Barkley. And if you don't believe me and you're one of these, I got to see it happen. Did he just call him Barkley? I said he runs like Barkley. You're damn straight I said that. Don't like it? Enjoy the show. Get your popcorn ready. This whole notion that things can't be what we say they're going to be because they haven't happened yet, it makes me laugh. Oh, did he just say? Yes, I did. And I will continue to. And I'll say it over and over and over. Franklin, side tangent, sidebar. Hey, we're talking about Franklin. Where'd I go? I don't know. I went over here. Back on point. Franklin looks okay. Thanks, Franklin, for that tangent. Aaron Rodgers. It was said to be, his 1-year deal was said to be $20 million at first. It sounds like it could be $10 million now, but who cares? But Aaron Rodgers, and then Lazard. Come on. We joked about this yesterday, but really, is this really real? Alan Lazard, Pro Football Talk, Mike Florio reports that Alan Lazard may prefer to stay with the Jets over being traded over the Steelers. So it's just hey Lazard. Aaron Rodgers, yep, he moved somewhere else. Go ahead and tag along one more time. Really? How is this happening? How is this even possible? How is Lazard just sitting there in New York anyway? Why'd they keep him? I don't know. They kept him anyway. But how is this, if they kept him even on the table to be talked about? Oh, Aaron Rodgers wants it? Go get Lazard. Go get Randall Cobb. Call Jordy Nelson's mom. See if we can get everybody. Let's get the gang back together. It's ridiculous if it's even a possibility that could be completed upon request. Russell Wilson's the clear guy in New York. And right now I'm okay with this happening. Just let's get Dart's feet wet. I honestly, I think, Winston, I'd rather Winston come in and snatch the job from him. Russell will probably get hurt getting out of bed like last year. So I don't know how long this will last. If he can't have success, they'll pull him really quickly. So if Winston gets in there, it's hard to say what's going to happen, but I do want Winston to be the guy. I do not believe in Dart. I didn't really believe in Dart. Dart's okay. I'll give Dart his credit if Dart does prove himself, but Dart was one of the weakest QB prospects that everybody kept touting, and I'm not super excited about him. I don't know that the Giants messed up big time not taking Shedeur, especially when he was still there in the second, still there in the third, still there in the fourth. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Jackson Darts look not that great right now. I think he's okay. I think he could develop. It could be a player that, as a prospect, I'm not wrong. He's not that good. As a prospect, he's okay. He's very decent, but he's not a quarterback you sit here and go, this is the future no matter what. He's going to flourish. I'm not wrong on that. Could he develop at this pro level and then we recognize it? Yeah, he could. So we'll take it as it comes, but he's not ready. You can already tell he's not ready. Dart's decent, but that's it right now. He's got to learn under Dable and really potentially climb, but we'll see what happens. But Russell Wilson, don't love it, don't necessarily hate it, because he can deliver the ball. They're moon balls, they're hospital balls. At some point, let's hope Winston does get in there and throw some dimes, because Winston made Jerry Jeudy a monster last year. He was a top 10 wide receiver, top 5 wide receiver. I believe it's 5 to 7. I forget what the number was. It might even been higher than that. If you extrapolate the games that Winston played with Jerry Jeudy, I want to say it was in the top 5. Like, if you extrapolated that 4, 5, 6 game, whatever it was, I think it was like a small number like that. You extrapolate that 4, 5, 6 games, whatever it was, across the season, and Jerry Jeudy was a top 5 wide receiver. So the volume's there. We want Winston in there. Everybody does. Luther Burden, soft tissue injuries, been holding him back. Was sidelined. Should be potentially good to go here in the next week or two. Hopefully, this is never a good thing for rookies to get set back like that, but hopefully it goes well for him. And Puka Nacua, everybody knows this. We talked about this yesterday, but let me just refresh everyone's memory, or people that missed the show yesterday. Puka Nacua is looking crispy, sharper routes, learning a lot from Devontae Adams, which makes me a really hopeful for his 2025 season. I'm just a little more skeptical than the average bear on his long-term value, given he's already talked about when he's retiring. He's retiring at 30. And it's like, why are you talking about this now? You know, why do we got to do that? You know, you want to play, he wants to be able to play with his kids, get on his knees, run around, bend down, and he doesn't want to feel pain. He wants to play sports with them. Like, you can pretend that that's great and all, but we really don't care, Puka. To be completely honest, if you say you do, you're lying. You're trying to be a good person. No one cares about that. We are selfish people. We want Puka Nacua playing till 32, 33. But his injury, his likelihood of being injury prone could take his career down about that time anyway, about 30 years old. Cooper Kupp drop off at age 30. You know, the way he was overworked, I think you're going to see Puka Nacua, who lays out for balls that other players don't even dream of laying out for. It's going to take a toll on his body. But that doesn't mean he doesn't give us 5 good years, amazing years. He's still young. That window is still there. But you almost look at him like the lifespan of a Genty, which is awesome. 4 to 6 years of glory is what Genty is going to give you. But you almost look at Puka Nacua with the retirement talk and just the way he plays as kind of like a brand new zero odometer, even as of right now. Just picture him having 0 odometer miles, and he's going to play a running back shelf life, is kind of what it feels like for Puka Nacua. You can argue with me on that all you want. Doesn't mean he's not amazing in Dynasty in that context, but I do think there's an injury-prone aspect here that will take him out 2, 3, 4 games pretty much every other season, and that could become frustrating for people. Let's hit these 2 super chats, one by Daniel, one by Sean, before we get straight into the NFC North. Thank you, boys, for the super chats. Keep them coming. I'll answer them in order in which they're received, and I'll attack the super chats right away. I won't wait. Sean was first. Sean says, hey, Smitty, Dynasty Superflex trade 10-man CJ, Stroud, and DK for Hunter. I have JD 5. And Fields, Milton as QBs. You're overpaying a lot, bro. Not that I don't love where you're headed with this, but this is a massive overpay in terms of a super flex Stroud value that he brings to the table. DK people probably value DK closer to Hunter than they should. When we see Hunter as a whole different monster, but part of me thinks you're not getting enough. It's not that I don't like the idea. You just need to make sure you're not getting raked over the coals because you see my Hunter video and you want to have a piece. But if you buy them at that cost, you can't afford any hiccups. You can't afford a slow start. You can't afford T-Law getting injured. So you're not protecting yourself enough there. You just need to see if you can get more. But I like the idea and concept of what you're doing. Yo, Smitty made it on CBS football show. I heard it live, homie, my man. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate you. You're the man, the myth, the legend. Daniel to the moon. Let's go over to the prediction part of the show where your boy is. Let me get Mahomes off screen. He's trying to steal screen time. Look at Mahomes. Let's get into this right now and say NFC North. And for those that don't know, we've done the NFC East already. We've done the NFC, where was it? NFC West. So there's that, and we've done the NFC South. Yeah. So we've done all those. We predicted all of. You can go look for those thumbnails. We've done all the projections for the players, and we're going to go through the same thing over here in the North. 11-6 Detroit Lions. I put all the records up in advance, so there's no surprises here like last time where I reveal them one at a time. 11-6 Lions, 10-7 Vikings, 9-8 Packers, 8-9 Chicago Bears. Roughly, this is the way that I see it. I think the Lions do win the division, but I think they struggle a bit at periods of time, maybe early on, especially early on, as they try and adjust to losing Ben Johnson. So if we head over to, let me grab this marker board here and we'll apply it to this other screen. And that way we can not leave said screen, but also drop the projections. So, and for some reason this is upside down. So we got to turn that around. Rotate. There we go. And let's zoom in a little bit on this mug. Okay. So let's break down everything from a Detroit Lion angle. And that's bothering me. Let me move that over here. There we go. Okay, so I think we'll start with let's start with Goff. Goff is a player that I know a lot of people have high hopes for. I understand why. I know he's played very well for a handful of years, but those years have been 100% propped up by the play calling and design and architecting and support of Ben Johnson. Goff was I don't want to say a laughing stock of the league or anything, but he was definitely not a great quarterback. He was definitely someone that the Rams, they swapped him for Stafford because they didn't want to deal with him anymore. He was not going to take him to the promised land. But he did play very well under the tutelage of Ben Johnson. There's no doubt about it. Goff was QB 6 last year. That's no joke. And then if we go back the year prior, in 2023, I'm trying to give him his credit, okay? I'm making sure I'm doing that. He's QB number 7 in fantasy, QB 6, QB 7 in back-to-back years. That's quite impressive. That is quite impressive. We go back to 2022, and Goff was QB. Where was he at? Let's see if I can find him here. Goff was QB 7. So he's had 3 amazing years. And then you go to 2021. Let me pull up Goffy boy. See where he's at here. Goff during this season was QB 23. So it's really easy to say, Smitty, this is 3 years in a row that he's a top 7 QB. I understand why everyone's going to be excited about that, but this offense is humming, or it was humming. And without Ben Johnson, I am petrified that we're going to see a huge downtick in everyone's receiving production, not to the tune that makes anybody a bust or anything, but without Ben Johnson there, this yardage that Goff had in 2024 and 2025 and 2022, which was in the 44, 38, 45, 75, and 46, 29 in back-to-back years, this being last year in 2024. Previous years, 3,200 yards, 3,900 yards. He had a couple 4,000-yard seasons prior to that, but 22 touchdowns, 20 touchdowns, 19 touchdowns. Goff had, in 2024, this most recent season right here, 32 TDs. The year prior, 22. The year prior, 20. So even during these years where he's throwing a lot of yards, he had an anomaly touchdown season last year. An anomaly, like very much different than any other touchdown year he's ever produced. That, he had 28 touchdowns one year, 22, 32, 20, 19. This was an anomaly year for him, essentially. I'm sorry, 37. 37. So 37 touchdowns, anomaly. 30, 29, 19, 20, 22, 32. Just nothing close to 37. So given, I believe that he's probably going to take a downtick in yards without Ben Johnson, and I'm going to call it like 3,800 to 3,900 yards, which is definitely, even if you called it 4,000 even versus 4,600, not the craziest hit. Then you give him, instead of 37 TDs the year prior, again 30, the year prior 29. I think if you gave him 31 TDs, still solid. 12 INTs last year, 12 INTs the year before, 7 and 8 the year before, 13 and 16 the year before that. I think 13, maybe 14, 15 TDs this year without Ben Johnson. So maybe something along the lines of 31 and 15, 4,000 yards. Still solid numbers. Those are good enough to get St. Brown his stats that we'll go over in a second. But this struggle of dropping down a little bit is why I think they're not going to be 13, 14 win team. I think they still win the division. I think the Minnesota Vikings will play well, but they'll still have their struggles too as they get to know J.J. McCarthy and he starts to try and, pick up the NFL game, makes mistakes. It's kind of his rookie season in a sense. So J.J. McCarthy might play very well. He might feed J.J. the ball. This is the right offense for J.J. We'll get into J.J. McCarthy in a second. But Goff, to me, with the drop-off, doesn't make him garbage. It just makes him kind of brings him back down to earth a little bit. AMON-RA St. Brown was wide receiver 2. So St. Brown last year was wide receiver number 2 with a 115, 1263, and 12 TDs. An anomaly type touchdown season for him. I say that because you look at his history and he had, I would say maybe not anomaly. I would say the high end is his career high, but he had 10 the year prior. I think he probably goes down to about 9, which is still super respectable. Maybe 9 to 10 TDs. I think his receiving yards kind of stay very similar. I'd say 1,200. And his receptions, we'll call it 105 to 109. Still a good year for St. Brown. No one should be running away from St. Brown. Is there a slight downtick? Maybe a little bit. That's it. Just a little downtick. He's still deserving of being a top 14 overall player. Love St. Brown. Where I think people are getting out of hand is ranking Jameson Williams in this crazy fashion where he's some people's high-end wide receiver 2, some people's wide receiver 1 in a running back robust build where they also grab tight end early and they grab JMO at the top around 4. Some people grabbed him at the bottom of 3. I don't understand what's happening. JMO was wide receiver 22 last year. He brought to the table finally a 1,000-yard season. It was 1,001. It was 58 receptions, which he's got to get more receptions. And the problem is Goff's going to throw less, in my opinion. I believe that to be true. 7 TDs. I think we're probably looking at I think he could get the same numbers minus maybe it's more of like a 5 to 6 TD type of situation. I think 950 to 1,000 yards. And something along the lines of 55 to 60 receptions. Pretty much very similar numbers. Maybe this total is more like 1090. Maybe this total here is 6 touchdowns. 6 to 7 even. Maybe he stays very much in par with what he had last year, which puts him in that 22, 23, 24, 25, top 25 wide receiver ranking. But I don't see top 15 wide receiver numbers out of him personally, with Goff taking a step back, with Ben Johnson gone, with Morton in charge. We don't know what Morton's going to do. We don't really know Morton. We know Morton's been involved in some good offenses. He was in Denver last year, but he was in Detroit before that. It's kind of an internal hire from somebody that stepped out real quickly for a bucket of ice over in Denver and came back. But we can't trust that Morton's going to be Ben Johnson. So I don't know. Plus, you have the off the field issues that always come with J-Mo. Will he keep his head on straight? And for those that say he's been fine. There's been a lot of rumors inside Detroit that the fan base and the team does not want to extend him for sure. They might do it. They kind of want to. They want to believe in him, but they've thought about trading him. They don't know, like Pickens. The Pittsburgh Steelers like Pickens, but didn't want to extend him. Didn't want to commit to him. The Lions are in some ways, maybe less ways, I think they probably do. And this year will definitely determine a lot, obviously. But they're very skeptical about making that move now. Like, they need to see what he can do. Can he pull it all together, hold it all together? From a Jahmyr Gibbs perspective, number one running back. Number one running back last year in fantasy football scoring. Couldn't be more happy about that. But Smitty Barkley, Monty, Smitty, Monty is Barkley. That's basically what people said to us all year. Gibbs can't be the running back one. Monty's there, Smitty. Let me break it down to people. The truth here. Monty can be a top 20 running back. He was number 18 last year. So real quickly, if we're talking about Monty's predictions, let's just go with Monty right now. Monty played 14 games. Monty's likely to play another 14 or 15 games. He's not going to probably play 17 games. That's the nature of Monty's aggressive rushing style. He's going to be a little more injury prone every year. But let's say he plays another 14 games again. Doesn't change anything. This is running back one. Running back number one was Jahmyr Gibbs. And Monty played 14 games. This is probably not going to change. And Monty, if we're going to throw Monty's projections out, let's call it 800 rushing. Let's say he has a little bit more rushing yards than last year. 800, give him 10 TDs on the ground. We're respecting Monty like hell. Give him, last year he had 36. We'll give him 35 again for 310 yards. And he didn't have a receiving touchdown. 10 total touchdowns. This is Monty. 810, 35, 330. That's definitely respectable, and it helps keep Gibbs healthy. Anybody wants to say we don't like Monty, I'm drafting Monty as an RB3, a flex play, 810. That's fantastic. And that keeps Gibbs healthy. Gibbs, on the other hand, ladies and gentlemen, running back one, who did it with Monty playing 14 games, which is probably what Monty is going to do this year if he's lucky. We have a player that if I think Goff is going to take not a step back to where they don't win the division, but where they struggle to win the division. They crawl to win the division against the Vikings. Maybe if the Packers surprise me, they're struggling to win the division with the Packers. I mean, we're talking about a 2-game difference, so it might be a struggle until the end. And maybe the Packers win 10 games. But this is something where this team's going to lean on the run a little more. Just like when you got to lean on what you have. When McCarthy wanted to run the ball, remember, I want to run the damn ball. Remember that? He wanted to change everything. They lose their OC. It's going to be amazing. McCarthy's going to play call for the first time. And they didn't have the personnel to do it. I believe that that's kind of the case here. The personnel was propped up by Ben Johnson like Weekend at Bernie's to a degree. They'll still get it done. I just gave you St. Brown's projections. I just gave you J-Mo to have a very similar line as last year. And I'm telling you, Gibbs is going to get potentially more work. I could see it. Maybe it's not all on the ground. He had 250 carries last year. Maybe he has something along the lines of 265, 270. in carries. Maybe he gets something along the lines of 4. And it could even be where his yards per carry dip a little bit, and he doesn't even have that much more yardage at the end of the day. Might not even be something that we're super excited about in retrospect. Like, hey, he got more carries, but his yards per carry were down. He had the same amount of yards. Let's say 1450. Let's say he has 14 TDs, 14. Let's call it 14 rushing. 14 rushing. He had 16 last year. He had 4 receiving TDs. Let's say he has 5 receiving TDs this year. That's going to be 19 total touchdowns. So let's just write 19. You can't even see that. So we'll say 265 rushing, 450. We'll say 19 total TDs. We're going to say receiving, he had 52 for 517. I say he has 52. Let's call it 65 receptions. Put it right here so you can see it. 65 receptions for 590, 19 total touchdowns, 1,450 rushing. That's going to put him almost the exact same total. That's going to put him as running back 1 or running back 2. It's going to give him about 360 points, give or take 10, 15 points. Because you're taking a touchdown or 2 away, you're giving him more receptions, you're giving him more receiving yards, you're giving him a touch more rushing yards, but the yards per carry will be down maybe a little bit, given that they could lean on him more. Gibbs is running back 1 or running back 2, running back 3 in the top 3. Top 3 running back. Gibbs is going to Jupiter.
To Jupiter.
Now Laporta, Tesla. Let's just say he has a couple really good games. Like in best ball, he's going to be a great player to have on the very end of your bench, and he does something great. Alex with the super chat interrupts the show. Appreciate that. Keep dropping them. Smitty, keep doing God's work. We all appreciate the time and dedication you put in. Thanks for all the advice throughout the years. Thank you, Alex, for the altruistic super chat, my boy. Alex to the moon. Tesla, let's say, has like 2 or 3 really good games. Worth owning in best ball. Worth cuffing to St. Brown or JMO. And so Tesla will have probably, let's call it 2 to 3 games where, and this is Tesla, where Tesla maybe has something like 70 and 1 TD times 3 games, has a nice little stretch. As far as Laporta's a tough guy to predict because I think that he'll be a safety net and mechanism for Goff, even if Goff struggles a little bit. And Laporta last year was tight end 8, even with the missed, the playing injured. He missed time, not as much as you remember because he played injured. He played partial games, but he still was injured a big portion of the year, and he wasn't healthy until certain sections of the season. Even when he returned, he got injured again, and he played injured. But I think Laporta is in store for like a 70, 8, 50, and probably 7 to 8 TDs. The TDs won't change much. I think he had 7 last year. Yardage will be up into the hundreds above where he was last year, so 726 to 850. His receptions will be up at least 10 receptions. So yeah, we're talking about a pretty damn good season. This is tight end 6, maybe tight end 5, 6, 7, depending on how good the tight end room does this year. So that's the Detroit Lions. We go over to the Minnesota Vikings. How to predict what McCarthy's going to do. It's so tough. JJM, we'll call him. He's not JJ, he's JJM. If we look at Sam Darnold's numbers and we try to make heads and tails of it, it's really hard for me to sit here and go, yeah, he's going to get the 4,300 yards, 35 TDs, and 12 INTs, and 200 rushing. Well, he could get that. 1 TD. I'll leave that on the board. I think he can get that. But 43, 19, 35, I don't think this is possible. I think this is probably going to be a 24 touchdown season for him, which is enough to get JJ his bread. 12 INTs, that could totally be right as a rookie. It could be higher than that. It could be 13. It could be 14. It could be 13. We'll put it at 13 just to be nice to J.J. McCarthy, but he definitely could have more than 13 INTs. But I think 24 to 25 TDs in this offense that is very, very conducive to making players play a lot better. And Sick Nasty, my bold prediction is going to be right. Sick Nasty, what do you think he has? I'm just curious. And 4,300 yards, I just can't see it. I think you could maybe see him have like a 3,900 yard, impressive 3,900 yards in this offense for a guy that I don't think is a 5,000 yard passer by any means. I think this is probably what you're looking at. Now, this is enough, though. I would love to know what Sick Nasty's projections are. Okay, where do we rank J-Mo? Bryson, go watch the video. I just did it. I just did the Detroit Lions. Appreciate you, though, Bryson. But it's sitting right there for you, my guy. JJ, under these conditions that I've just mapped out, JJ's a top. He was number 3 wide receiver 3 last year, and his line was 103, 15, 33, and what was it? How many touchdowns did he have last year? 10? 10 TDs. This is what J-Mo had last year. God, this is tough. Sick Nasty. Give us your new projection, Sick Nasty. Give us just another spitball projection. And guys, drop your McCarthy projection in the chat. I would love to drag over everybody's projection. So drop your JJ McCarthy yardage, touchdowns, and INT projection on one line, and I'll drag it over on screen. JJ's going to probably still, he's quarterback proof as much as you can say somebody is. He can, because he can get open in any different way. Short routes, long routes, play all over the field, grab the ball at the line of scrimmage as they try and get someone's feet wet. But JJ McCarthy looks pretty good right now. He doesn't look bad in camp. He actually looks pretty good. So I'd probably say something along the lines of JJ not really taking a step back in receptions. I mean, he could have 100 to 110. So that's not crazy. Do I think he has 1,500 yards? I'm going to call this a 1,400 yard season out of JJ McCarthy. And in touchdowns, this is where I feel like I can't see JJ McCarthy throwing for more than 25. So I feel like 8 to 10 is possible. This puts him right along the lines of where he was last year. I mean, I even gave him a range of receptions over 103 from last year. We're talking about 1,400 yards. I mean, you want to give him 1,500? That's all. That's 10 more points, roughly. And then I'm still giving him his 10 touchdown capability that he had last year, but just dumbing down the range a little bit. This is pretty respectable. Bruce says 3,500 yards for J.J. McCarthy and 30 to 32 TDs. Garrett says 3,128 TDs. Buck says 42-28. Joel says 3K 25 TDs. Travis, what are you saying? Snoopy says 3,500, and that's what Minnesota could do for him. He really could. But his first year, it's hard for me to... Like, Darnold at least was a veteran. You know what I mean? Like, that's my worry, is everybody's going to expect that this offense just produces. But that's with a veteran who understands the NFL game and the speed of the NFL. Even though Darnold had failed a lot, played for the Niners. I'm not sure, but it was something along 27 tutties and 4,600 yards. That isn't crazy, though, Sick Nasty. That would not, shock me or surprise me. Matt says 3,930 TDs. Travis says 3,750 and 24 tutties. And so, does everybody think that JJ repeating last year to a degree, which is what I have, with a little bit of a range that could make him finish with 8 TDs instead of 10? I think that's pretty respectable. Addison is where I'm a little bit concerned, because I don't know that the volume downtick from a what is essentially a rookie quarterback trying to do what Darnold did as a veteran in a very good system. I think the volume downtick will not affect JJ, but it will probably affect Addison, who finishes wide receiver 21 last year, who had 63 receptions, 875, and 9 TDs. So 9 TDs is hard to imagine unless an injury happens. Can't even read that. 875. So give me 50 to 55 receptions. Give me 750 to 810 yards. And give me 5 to 6 TDs. Not crazy. I'm not going to project the other wide receivers. I think, they're going to have a rotation. I don't think you're going to necessarily see what you think you're going to see if you're a fan of this rookie wide receiver versus what's his face? Jalen Nailor, who I like. Nailor last year had 42 targets. He had 6 TDs. He's not having 6. I mean, he could have 3 or 4. So we'll say 3 or 4 TDs, Jalen Nailor. Maybe. And depends on how high we are on that total. And when we throw Hawkinson's touchdowns in here, maybe Nailor is the one that gets, unfortunately, the lesser touchdowns than even 3 or 4. But his 28 receptions for 414, I think that's okay. Nailor could do this if he keeps the 3 job. Hawkinson's really tough to project. And if we go to Hawkinson from a previous season even and try and figure out, he was tight end 4 in 2023. And historically, last year he played 10 games. Played 15 the year prior, 17, 12, 16, 12. Hawkinson misses time. He's kind of an injury-prone tight end. So Hawkinson is probably looking at, if we look at his reception total, again, missed time last year, but you're kind of accounting for the fact that he's always injured. We can use these numbers and just average it in a way. 41, 95, 86, 61, 67, 32. Given that the volume will be less, I don't anticipate the 95 or 86 repeat. I don't necessarily think he'll have 41 receptions like he did last year on 10 games. I think he probably has something around the lines of 60 receptions. I think you give him probably similar yards per catch that he's had over the course of his career, which will put him at roughly 600 yards. And then, the touchdowns, 5. Last year he had 0 touchdowns. Is that right? He had 41 receptions for 455 last year on 10 games and 0 touchdowns. Oh, wow. 5. Is that right? So 5, 6, 4, 6, 2. I don't see how. Drew says 7 TDs. I don't know that he's going to have a career high in TDs. I'm going to go ahead and say 5 to 6 again. And again, I don't know if we're at a point now where we've got too many touchdowns on the board for McCarthy, but then we just dial back to that 8 number for JJ. We dial back Addison's. We dial back. I think JJ probably keeps his 8 to 10 though. I don't think that moves, but Hawkinson. So that's what I think for Minnesota. As for the Green Bay Packers, this is a tough one, guys. A rushing attack for the Vikings. I'm sorry. So if we go to Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones, I don't think Aaron Jones is going to stay healthy. And nor do I think they even lean on Aaron Jones anyway if he was to stay relatively healthy. We got a $20 hauler from David W. that needs to be immediately intersected here. So David W. 20.
Alert. Super chat alert.
David, appreciate your $20 hauler, my boy. All $20 haulers, all super chats get immediate attention. No love for my Packers, Smitty. First, Travis Hunter thing, and now you do this to me. What about Travis Hunter? What do you mean, first the Travis Hunter thing? What, you against Travis Hunter? That's not my fault, David W. I forget what I even said to you yesterday about Travis Hunter, to be honest. Anyway, no love for Green Bay. We're going to go over Green Bay right now. But yeah, 9-8, maybe 10. I said maybe 10-7, maybe you're 10-7. This could be a 10-7 team. You could be fighting for the division at 10-7 because I think it's going to be a 10 or 11 win thing for the division. I don't think this division's as strong as people think this year. There's going to be some trip ups. You got Chicago's. Everyone said they're amazing. Never been set up better than a rookie quarterback's never been set up. I don't care what his line, Ben Johnson. I get it, but it's still Chicago. It's still Ryan Poles. So we'll see what happens here. Green Bay, it could be a 10-win season for sure. David, we'll get to it. Just hang tight. Hopefully you'll be happy with some of the projections. But let's go back real quickly to this Minnesota Vikings rushing stable. And where was Aaron Jones? So Aaron Jones last year was running back. A. Jones was running back. What was he? Oh, I'm looking at 2023. Hold on. I got to get back to 2024. Aaron Jones last year was running back. It might surprise some people that he was 16, running back 16 last year. And he had 1138 rushing. He had 5 rushing TDs. Aaron Jones also had 2 receiving TDs. So 7 total. And then he had 51 receptions, which he always does good for 2 receiving yards, 408 receiving, and receptions 51. So 51, 408, 7 total touchdowns. I'm going to go ahead and say 5 total touchdowns. I'm going to go ahead and say 800 total rushing yards. I'm going to go ahead and say 190 to 200 receiving yards. I'm going to say 0 to 1 TD. So we'll just keep it at 15 total. Or 15. 5 total touchdowns. What's this mean? This means that Aaron Jones probably could be productive for a string of games. And most of this production will come inside that string. And then once he falters, gets injured, gives way to Jordan Mason, then Mason steps in. And that's why those numbers will look like that. It's not like I'm trying to say average those numbers for Aaron Jones across a 17-game starting season. That's clearly me telling you there's going to be a shot glass of goodness for a couple games, and then boom, he's down and out. Last year, Jordan Mason was unreal in his run. Where's Jordan Mason at? Let me see if I can find Jordan Mason's stats. Okay, so Jordan Mason, obviously didn't play the entire season. He even got banged up, but I think he could have played longer, but Shanahan didn't want his value to increase. So he was running back 42 overall, but it's hard to look at that. You got to look at his stretch of games where he was, it was weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, and then some of week 5, and then he got injured. Week 5. Sorry, it was week 7. He got injured, wasn't it? Week 7? He got banged up a little bit, and then he didn't go out for the season. When he got sacked by Shanny was week 13, I believe. But there was a stretch where he was banged up. I guess we could look at Garendo and see when that was. But neither here nor there, when he was getting volume, 24 carries, 19 carries, 20 carries, 28 carries, whenever he was getting volume before he got banged up, then came back and then got banged up again, he had a roughly 5.0 to 5.2 yard per carry run and stretch. If we spitball these numbers, I'm looking at a guy who had 8 yards a carry, 6 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry, 4 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry, probably in that stretch. And then we'll include the week 7 KC game, 4.14. That's probably 5.5 yards per carry. Mason's going to get you 5.0 yards per carry. That's what he does. Now, he doesn't catch the ball a lot. He had literally 1 reception, 2 receptions, 2 receptions, 1, 2, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, and then he was injured. So, hard to say what he's going to do. I think if we take this exact framework and say he ends up getting in the lineup, let's say he gets 9 to 10 total TDs. I don't know how they're going to come, whether they're going to be all in a 5-game stretch, but I just envision him having 9 to 10 TDs. Probably won't have much receiving work at all. We're talking about maybe exiting with maybe 12 to 15 receptions for like 90 yards or something. So he's not a PPR monster, but 147 yards in week 1 and a touchdown. 100 yards and a touchdown in week 2. 77 and no touchdown in week 3. 123 and a touchdown in week number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's call this 710 yards. 710 yards, 5 yards per carry, 9 to 10 TDs. This is a midseason monster. This is a midseason monster, Jordan Mason, standalone. It's hard not to put him with Grendo. Jordan James and Grendo are a midseason monster, but Mason's going to give you midseason monster production, meaning that you're probably not expecting this in week 1. Aaron Jones will be leading until he gets injured. And for those that don't know, for those that are new to the channel, for those that don't understand that Garendonites unite everywhere.
Well, no going back now. You sure you want to do this, Kyle? Yeah.
Grendonites and Masonites.
We have to.
Assemble.
Let's go.
Everywhere.
Procedure.
We're Masonites.
Masonites assemble.
More than Masonites, we are Grendonites. We're more Grendonites than we are Masonites.
Well, no going back now. You sure you want to do this, Kyle?
This is Garendo.
Yeah, we have to.
Different video.
Let's go. Start the procedure.
Yeah, John, look at that. Yeah, that looks great, Kyle. Look at him. Look at him.
Grendonites unite!
We're big Grendonites. We're big Masonites. Mason's going to have a good season. So let's move on to the Green Bay Packers. We'll try and make this a little quicker. Jordan Love, not super in love with Jordan Love, to be honest with you guys. I know that it's going to piss off some people that really expect Jordan Love to take a big step forward. But let's be honest. Let's be truthful with ourselves here. He was QB 16 last year. QB 16 last year. Obviously only played the 15 games, but that's still enough games to say why you only throwing 25 TDs, Mr. Jordan Love. Why 11 INTs? Let's call it 11 to 12 INTs in a repeat INT performance. Let's call it 27 TDs. Not horrible, not bad. I'm not saying he's garbage. He threw 32 TDs the year prior, so in between 25 and 32 is even possible. To go 28, 29. It's certainly in the cards. 11 to 12 INTs. Yardage 41.59 the year prior. 33.89 last year. Something like 3,800 yards is in the cards for Jordan Love. Is that a horrible quarterback? No, but that's not what I want. It's not what we'd hoped he could become. And so for me, that's disappointing. You go to the wide receiver room. I don't even know where to begin on this. Golden is he's never had 1,000 yards. Golden's never had 1,000 yards in college. What makes us think he's coming in as a rookie and having 1,000 yards at this level? He's going to have 805 probably. You know, and then Jaden Reed, he's a wide receiver 1, even if he's a low end, like wide receiver 12, 13, 14 in the National Football League. This is a guy they don't use properly. They did say to him when he was disgruntled because of the golden pick, because of what the golden pick represented. We haven't taken a wide receiver in how long? Oh my God, it's been decades. And it's like, we need a wide receiver 1. That hurt the feelings of Reed. And Reed sat down with his team and he said to his coach, what does this mean? And they said, don't worry, you're still the number 1 wide receiver on the team, which is nice to hear. And it makes me feel like maybe there's hope that he's going to be of service. But he was wide receiver 30 last year, and he pulled in a 857 line with 56 receptions and 6 TDs, and they want to run him less, so his potential rushing numbers, which were last year, what were they? Let's see, receiving, rushing. What did he have last year? Let me see. Reed had rushing the ball. He had 163 and 1 TD. The year prior, 119 and 2 TDs. I still think he breaks loose on a play or two. So let's just give him 90 and 1 TD anyway. They want to run him less. I get it. I like Savion Williams a lot. They might want to use Savion in that D-back, wide back Debo role, the D-back role. Reed, so let's call it 62 receptions for 910, and honestly, I think 6 TDs total is fine. So we'll just wipe that out and say total TDs. That's okay. That's definitely good value, but I'm just not feeling the vibe. And the other wide receivers, like, how do we even begin to project numbers for, guys like Dobbs? And I don't know. I mean, just using last year is probably the most simple way to even do it. But you look at a guy like, let me go even find one of these Packer wide receivers. Dobbs had 601 and 4. Sure. 40 to 46 receptions. Why not? That seems right. You go find a player like, where's Wicks, who's so good, but he doesn't catch the football. Wicks had 405, so 405. Sure, I think he does that. That's fine. Kraft is probably the big player we want to talk about. Kraft could be a very, very big breakout. He was tight end number 10, Kraft. And I think Kraft could be in store for something along the lines of, he had 7 TDs and 700 yards and 50 receptions. This isn't my projection. This is what Kraft did last year. Very hard to remember seeing this production. Let's give him 850. Let's give him 7 TDs, and let's give him 60 receptions. Kraft is a big breakout. I like Kraft a lot. Kraft is probably the most exciting player on the roster from a rising perspective. Jacobs was running back 6. Jacobs, and I know a lot of people hate that I don't have Jacobs doing a repeat type of situation in 2025, but it is what it is. The mileage is added up on Jacobs. He's 27 years old. Ziggy, how old is Josh Jacobs? Let's see what his birthday is.
Josh Jacobs is 27 years old and was born on February 11th.
Okay, so just turned 27. Now, he could obviously play well one more year, but in Dynasty, I'm running away because I think the 28 age season won't be kind to him. He's played 6 years in the league. He's carried the ball 301 times last year, 237, 340 the year prior, 217, 273, 242. His yards per carry have been 4.7, 3.9, 4.0, 4.8. 3.45, and then last year 4.4. So he's taken a beating. He's got 15 touchdown season, 6 touchdown season, 12 touchdown season, 9, 12. So very capable of a double-digit touchdown year. If I had to predict a slide in Jacobs' production, I'm still going to say like 1,100 yards is rushing is still very, very respectable. 8 to 9 TDs on the ground, still very respectable. It's just his cost of entry is tough. This package is in that he's going to miss maybe a couple games. 30 receptions for 250, 240 yards. And again, the 8 to 9 total TDs. I know a lot of people won't like that. They're going to say, Smitty, why do you hate Josh Jacobs? We predicted Jacobs would do what he did last year. This is a channel that was all over Jacobs. I just think this is going to be a year where he struggles for some reason, probably injury. And the mileage is potentially going to add up. 300 plus carries, facing 8-man fronts in Oakland. He was in a Raiders uniform when they were Oakland. That's how much it dates back to him being abused as a running back and facing 8-man front after 8-man front. I just think that with him, it's going to wear a little quicker for people than people expect. From the Bears projections, this is going to be interesting, right? I haven't run through Caleb Williams' projections yet. I'm very, very intrigued by this. He was QB 17 last year. QB 17. He dropped a line that looks like this: 35, 41, 20 TDs, and 6 INTs, which the 6 INTs was impressive in one sense, but the other sense was it was 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Careful with the football, but not doing much with it. And then in the third and fourth quarter, when they're down and teams are playing prevent, he's scrambling all over the place, running a lot, and his rushing yards were 489 and 0 TDs. This 0 TDs is important because that means this running around wasn't as effective as you think. This is him running around against prevent defenses when they were all the way down on the other side of the field. He wasn't able to get into the end zone because he was scrambling and had tons of room when defenses were playing back, playing prevent, playing safe, and Caleb would have these wide open territories of the field where he could scramble and get out of bounds. I'm not saying he didn't do good with that or he doesn't have a good, knack for getting out of a bad situation. He's clearly got that ability he learned at the college level, but he's been doing this for a while, playing off script, out of structure. You probably heard Caleb talked about like that over and over and over because he doesn't play within the confines of the system. He has to scramble outside. And so
someone is at the front door.
Yeah. Hold on one second. Let me see if I got to unlock this door. Hold on. All right. So Caleb Williams, continuing to play at that level. I would say it's not crazy to think he throws for 4,000 yards this year. Oh my God, Smitty, I can't believe you're saying that. Yeah, Ben Johnson is going to have him propped up more than normal. This could even be like a 4,200 yard season, a 44, 43. But let's call it 4,200 yards. 4,200 yards. I think this could be something along the lines of 25 to 27 touchdowns. I think that because he's going to be forced by Ben Johnson to play more in structure, you're going to get something along the lines of 10 INTs. I think he probably runs a little less because, they're going to be trying to throw a lot more from in the pocket. So let's just call it 390. And I think he does get in the end zone at least one time. So 1 TD, 25. This is a pretty decent year for a guy that had, a lot less than that last year, 3,500 yards and 20 touchdowns. I mean, I'm giving him an uptick. I think this is people are probably wondering why I'm giving him so much credit. Could he have 27 TD? Sure. Could he have less than 25? Yeah. Could he have 42, 44, 4,100 yards, 3,900 yards? Is certainly possible. He could also get hurt because of his inability to try and remain inside the pocket, and he just doesn't play in structure. So there's that. As far as the running backs, Monangai, you've got Roshan Johnson, you got Swift. Hard to really say. I think even going through those motions is going to be tough. I think DeAndre Swift is the one guy we'll probably want to project for. And Swift, even having a really kind of underrated season last year, still only finishes running back 19, which is kind of surprising given that he did feel like he had a better year than that last year. But he had 959 rushing yards, 6 TDs on the ground. He had 42 receptions for 386 and 0 receiving TDs. Notice how Caleb's not running for touchdowns. Swift isn't receiving touchdowns out of the backfield. That they're going to try and change that. Ben Johnson's going to try and change that. But Swift, to me, is a potential injury risk this year. Entering his 5th year, 5'9", 215-pound running back, is actually built a little bigger than people give him credit for, but he is often injured. Played 13 games, 14 games, 16 games, and then played a whopping 17 games last year. So this could be one of those things where you could say, you're guessing, Smitty, but it kind of feels like he's due to miss some time. So I'm going to say 800 yards, and they're struggling to find the continuity in the rushing attack. It's not just going to be there. The first person there is the guy. It might be Roshan. They might rotate to find their Monty and Gibbs. Could be Monangai. I'm going to say this is 4 TDs, maybe 3 to 4 TDs. I'm going to say this is something along 33 and 250. 0 receiving TD. I just don't know that I can see Swift withstanding the season this year, and you can call that speculation. You can call it whatever you want. I think if I had to predict, one of Roshan or Manungai, the rookie, is going to end up having, it's going to be hard. It's going to be one of those things where you're trying to extrapolate the data, but they have a string of games. Let's call it like a 4 to 5 game window where they're rushing, at a pace that is around 1,100 yard pace and, like 6 to 7 TD pace. So this would be the pace that they're at. I don't think they'll play that way. I just think there will be a running back at some point during the season that gets, and it's either Manungai or Roshan probably, that gets into that kind of groove that we're looking at the data and extrapolating it later. As far as the receiving room, this is a really, really, really tough thing to predict. DJ Moore even said himself that he expects to get a lot less work this year. And DJ Moore last year had 98 receptions for 966 and 6 touchdowns. I mean, rinse and repeat it. I think he can do that. I think, I don't see why he couldn't rinse and repeat it. But do I like him more than that? Not really. I think that the best receiver in the room, well, it was Rome. So Odunze I like a lot, but Odunze didn't exactly have the progression that we wanted. He had 54 receptions for 734 and 3 TDs. I think that probably goes to the 70, maybe 9, 10, and 5. I think that Burden probably, depending on his health, because he's been banged up right now, he's got some soft tissue concerns. Like, this could be a guy that has the 65, 9, 10, and 7 TDs and has another 1 to 2 rushing TDs. He becomes the St. Brown. You're talking about a guy that ends up with 9 or 10 total touchdowns, maybe with the rushing yards, he ends up with 1,000 total yards, 65 to even like 70 receptions maybe, but call it 65. This could be the better version, but you might end up having one guy barely get over 1,000 yards. There's a lot of mouths to feed over there. And Loveland, I don't know what to think of Loveland. I feel like people are just expecting way too much out of this kid as a rookie. You look at what Cole Kmet did last year, and it's hard for me to envision him having a much better year than Cole Kmet had. Cole Kmet had 47, 474, and 4. So even if you give him 5 TDs and give him 5, 90 and 54, it's a good season. But I don't see how this guy's a 900 yard, 8, 7, 8, 9, 10 touchdown tight end. Like some people are projecting 80 receptions, or I just think rookie tight ends don't translate as fast as people want them to. That's the projection. We're done predicting every single player. If I forgot somebody, you can let me know. Super chats get handled. We got gifted memberships coming in from BBQ. 20 gifted memberships from BBQ. We got 20 gifted memberships from New Age Outlaw. Both dropping it. Let's drop that 50 plus emoji.
$50. Give me $50, honey. Get better, brother.
Thank you, BBQ and New Age Outlaw.
Let him cook.
So that's my projection. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the breakdown. We got one more division left. What was it? What division have we not covered yet? Was it the AFC South? Yeah, which is fitting for more Jaguar ranting. So the last one will be the AFC South. I'll try and put on my YouTube homepage a row that has all of the breakdowns, okay? So they're all on one row, so they're easy to find. But we'll probably do like a wrap-up show too, like some sort of like, I don't think I'll project every player again, but a divisional prediction type of thing. But for the most part, it all still pretty much stands for me. Phone lines are open. Dial in, dial in, dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
No, you're right, Smitty. Birdie sucks.
All right, phone lines are open and working. Mitchell to the moon. This is one of the, like, if you know, I always tell you, if you get the extra fab in a trade, if you trade like a player or a pick for all the fab, that you have the shot at the next Mitchell. You have the shot at the next, or not the next Mitchell, the next H.M. Bucky, Kyron, Puka. I think Mitchell could be on the short list, and we'll do a preemptive Week 1 waiver wire show about 2 or 3 times before Week 1 actually kicks off, in anticipation and in an attempt to try and grab that next player for you all, so that when you walk out of Week 1 and everyone scrambles to go pick up the player, they're already on your roster, and this is a good candidate to be one of those guys. New Age Outlaw, you're live. Thank you for the gifted memberships, my boy. And drop a thank you to New Age. He's got his own emoji, the Cowboy Outlaw emoji. Please thank New Age Outlaw. New Age, you're live. What can I do for you?
Oh, I was just calling to say you made me real happy. I'm not even as high as you on Golden. I think he's just a work in progress to take over for Dobbs for next year. I mean,
yeah.
I can see him maybe getting 400, 500 yards, maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, I might have been.
So you kind of made my day.
I might have been a little high. What did I say? 805?
Something like that. Yeah, that sounds pretty good to me for a Green Bay receiver. That's damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what else you got?
The thing I wanted to know is I took it down on the Patreon is I really would like to see T-Law get his respect and be on the revenge tour. I think he deserves that since we can't find a spot for him with two Nova receivers.
Yeah, let's ask the chat. Guys, what do you say? Does T-Law deserve to be on the revenge tour list? I think he kind of does. I think his situation's very, very solid for this type of thing, but let's see what the chat thinks. Does everybody think T-Law should be on the revenge tour board? I think very, very fitting. I definitely think it's possible that he could make it on, and if the whole chat wants to, we'll do it now. We'll do it live. But Keaton Mitchell's on there right now, revenge tour right here. Let's see what the chat says. It sounds like they like the idea, Outlaw.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, I think you're exactly right on. I kind of hate it. I think, I will do a little bit better, but I think your projections are right on. I got nothing to add to it,
This is a good-looking revenge tour group. Rice, injured. Breece Hall, bad year. Keaton Mitchell, super cheap, free cost of entry sleeper. T-Law, the next potential Baker. Liam Cohen did it with Baker. Now he's going over to Jacksonville with maybe the best wide receiver room in the league. So how could T-Law fail? How can he fail? And then Mahomes.
He won't this year. This year I'm all in on him. I don't know why.
Yeah. Scott says, is this guy for real? He sounds like one of Smitty's voices. Well, I don't, my mouth isn't moving. Like we've been talking. Let's talk at the same time, New Age, and let him know. Go ahead. We're talking at the same time.
I don't even know. Yeah, this is crazy. In Arizona, 70 degrees is cold. Here it's hot as hell.
I'm not good with that. The Wisconsin or the Canadian accent, and that's I tried to do it and I botch it. Real quick.
I hear you there, guy.
You what?
I say, I hear you there, guy.
Yeah, I hear you there, don't you know? All right, hang tight, New Age. Let me go over to Bruce. If you got to hang up, but you can definitely sit on hold, no problem at all, and chime in whenever you want. Bruce, you're live.
Hey, Smitty.
What's up?
I watched I want to know on the North, would you rather have J-Mo or Addison?
J-Mo. Yeah, I'd rather have J-Mo. Look, I love J-Mo. I hate that people make me tear J-Mo down to size. It makes me angry. Because I love J-Mo. And everybody makes me, just say he's not a 3rd or 4th round pick. That's all I'm saying. Just until Morton proves he's the best offensive coordinator in the league, they're going to probably take a little bit of a step backwards. Even if they get back on track, there's some sort of hiccup. And if I'm wrong on that, then I'll jump straight in because I love J-Mo. But that's my cautionary tale. is that you expect what J-Mo did last year to repeat, which was about top 20 to 25 wide receiver material. There's nothing wrong with that at a J-Mo. I don't know why people think that's a crazy expectation. What did I say? A repeat of 1,000 yards. I think I said, what did I say, 6 to 7 TDs?
Yeah.
And then receptions, I believe I gave him 60 to 65, I think is what I said. So I basically just upped his stats from last year. And I don't know. People think I'm hating on him. That's 65 receptions, 1,000 yards, and 6 to 7 touchdowns is a fantastic year from J-Mo. I don't know what the problem is. Everybody wants.
I think last year.
What do they want? 1,500 yards?
If I was right, and I think I was. I have bad memory, but I thought Addison and J-Mo finished close. So I was like, oh man, I gotta see which one he would like more this year.
Yeah. Scott says Keaton Mitchell has to do something in the NFL before he can be on the revenge tour board. Absolutely not. That's false. I mean, look, he got injured. He was on his way and he got hurt, and his revenge.
And I'm all on board on T-Law being on the revenge tour.
Yeah, T-Law. Yeah, T-Law's on there, but Scott, no. I mean, he absolutely is on the revenge tour list. That's the perfect example. Keaton Mitchell's he's the best example of a revenge tour player. Revenge on what could have been. That's what it is. Who made the rule? Scott, who made the rule? It has to be somebody who's done something. I didn't say that. All right, let me swing on over to, it looks like we got a super chat here from Mr. T, who says, Masonites assemble. Damn straight. Garendonites and Masonites assemble. Maybe this year we get a lot of Mason and Garendo. That will be kind of nice and fun to watch. Let's see. 901 caller, you're live. What can I do for you, 901?
Hey, what's going on, Smitty?
What's up? Who's this?
It's Mike from San Diego.
What's up, Mike?
Hey, I was gonna say I'm calling because you're hitting on my players right now. I 100% agree on Keaton Mitchell. He's been on my roster the last 2 years in Dynasty. I have him handcuffed to Derrick Henry. I'm not really looking at Henry getting injured, but what I want for Keaton is for him to take more of the Justice Hill role, which is that pass catcher role. I just think he's way better than Justice Hill, and I would love to see them integrate him into that offense. Do you think that's possible, or is it just like a Henry has to go down for him to be successful?
No, it could also be a Henry slowing a little bit, and they're keeping him healthy as they can for the playoffs and all that. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be that he actually gets injured either. But I do think that there's a room for both of those scenarios where Keaton Mitchell is starting 5 to 6 games at some point. And maybe Keaton Mitchell starts 5 to 6 games in the middle of the year, and Henry comes back and plays the final 5 games on a tear. That there's that world too. It doesn't mean that if Henry gets hurt, he can't still do well when he plays. But I think, then you have him sprinkled in, Mitchell sprinkled in all year is pretty good. And then he gets this little stretch of games, and that could put him into a more of a great category. But yeah, Keaton Mitchell, keep in mind, everybody watching right now, he's very much a dark horse and not guaranteed a single thing. So understand that and don't get mad. This is the prototypical player that people cut after week 1 or 2. And they say, Smitty, what are we doing with Keaton Mitchell? He's not getting any run. What are we doing with Keaton Mitchell? He's not what you said he was going to be. I didn't say he was going to be anything in week 1. I'm saying he's a rags to riches player. He's a revenge tour candidate. It could be week 10. Could be week 5. It could be all season slowly, like you said, sprinkled in, and then he explodes during a stretch of games. Maybe it is the final 5 games. Who knows? But this is the typical player people drop because they're impatient, and you can't own him in every format. This is a player that in smaller benches you can't really do anything with. You almost have to hold on to him for a while. It's not like you can actually always start some of these guys or in some cases always pick up some of these guys. Some of these guys are monitor. You're in a league that's not the same as the league that you're playing next to it, where you have 2, it's a dynasty and you got 2 or 3 taxi squads. You got 12 bench guys, or at a redraft where you got 8 bench guys. So this is definitely somebody to make sure is not there in dynasty. And usually dynasty leagues have big enough benches and rosters and taxi squads on average that you can pick up Keaton Mitchell and hold him. Well, people will drop him. And if I had to throw a couple names out, this is my early. I'm gonna do a preemptive week 1 waiver wire show like we did last year. I'm gonna do 3 versions of it. One very soon, probably this month. This month, maybe in the next week or 2, we'll do a preemptive waiver wire show so that you are the guy that owns the player that everybody go races to pick up, and they're like, how the hell did you have him on your roster? What's going on? We want you to own Puka and Kyron and HN and Bucky of 2025 before week 1 ends. I want them already on your roster. And if I had to throw a couple names out just early, these are not necessarily going to even be my top 1 or 2 at the end of the day. But Keaton Mitchell is one of them. And another one would be maybe Woody Marks. That's another one that I could see being available in an astronomical amount of leagues. JCM, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt's another one that could potentially be available. Shador or Milrow, or if you want to go quarterback. But if we're just sticking with this, I mean, you could say Brashard Smith might be another one of these guys. Manungai, the rookie running back in Chicago. There's so many choices that we could, throw out here. This is not it. I'm just saying these are players, and Keaton Mitchell's one of them that could be that player everybody's racing to pick up. And BBQ with the $20 hauler. 1 second, let me just hit this real quick. BBQ, $20 hauler.
Alert. Super chat alert.
BBQ says the following. Let me get to that screen. The following, he says, Jags with Cohen are built like the Bucks. 2 wide receiver alphas, good tight end. Tootin drafted specifically for the Bucky role. Bigsby as an early down guy. Jags offense will be better. You think they kept Cohen's plane on the runway by accident? No, they didn't. And like I said, this is the perfect marriage on several levels. Cohen with the Jaguars is a perfect marriage. Cohen with the running back stable and what he did with Bucky, Rachaad White, and Sean Tucker, that's a perfect marriage. And Cohen to get handed the situation of BT fixing Trevor Lawrence, and then Cohen deciding that I want the best wide receiver room in the league. Let's go get Travis Hunter, who I believe, you can get mad at me all you want, I believe is better than BTJ. I don't care what anybody says. This is why I do what I do. I might be wrong, but I'm going to tell you how I feel, and a lot of it's going to be uncomfortable until it isn't. It's just the way it is, and that's not a knock on BTJ. When people think I say that and I'm tearing BTJ down, I'm not. He's got that good of a wide receiver room. At the very least, BTJ and Travis Hunter are equals. Doesn't mean BTJ drops at all in talent. It means he might not be 4, he might be more like 6. Wide receiver 6 next year, 5. I mean, he'd still be 5 or 6. He can still be 5 or 6. What are we talking about here? And I think Hunter plays as well, if not better at times. Maybe he doesn't beat him out this year. Maybe he does. But he will rotate with BTJ, and there will be a lot of people that believe in 2026 drafts next year, 1 year from today, there will be a lot of people that say Travis Hunter is better than BTJ. People will come around for it. All right, go ahead real quickly, and then I got to roll around the phone line. Who was I talking to just a second ago from 901?
Me. It was Mike.
All right, Mike. What was your question? I even forget. Thank
you. No, we were just talking. No, you're all good, man. I wanted to do a couple with you because we're talking about Keaton, but I wanted to move on to Trevor because I know you like Justin Fields as well. I wanted to get your thoughts on who do you think has a higher ceiling this year between those two. I think both of those guys have a lot of potential.
Yeah, Fields and Trevor Lawrence. That's a really good question. I think I don't know. You probably think Fields because he adds the running dynamic as well. He gets his wide receiver from college and Garrett Wilson, so the rapport is already there between Garrett Wilson and Fields. They know each other like the back of their hand. So this is going to be a really good potential passing type of season for Fields. He looks very accurate. T-Law's looking good according to Cohen. He's got the best wide receiver room maybe in the league. So you got a real tough thing to measure here. I think Fields is safer because of the running floor that he comes with. But that's not to say that T-Law can't change my mind 1 or 2 weeks into the season.
Yeah. Also, the thing about Trevor, I don't think a lot of people are bringing up is I think they could be like a variant of Cincinnati last year where their defense isn't that great. So they're going to have to throw the ball plenty. So I don't see why people act like BTJ and Hunter can't eat together when pretty much the whole offense is
Well,
funnel through those guys.
Travis made a great point yesterday that Aaron Rodgers turned Adams and Garrett Wilson into wide receiver 10 and 11. You know,
yeah,
that tells you everything you need to know. Aaron Rodgers is not that good last year. He played okay at the end, but T. Law probably plays a lot better than that. And so why can't he support a 10? He had 10 and 11. If he had 10 and 11, why can't T. Law and Cohen's offense have 10 and 6? The answer is he can. And he can do that outside of even being a top 7 QB. He could be number 8, 9, 10, 11 and still support wide receiver 6 and 10. You know, especially when you consider that some of what I believe to be the production that Hunter's going to have is going to be wide back production, which some of it will be considered rushing, and he will get a lot of end arounds, jet sweeps, footballs thrown to him behind T. Law that will be really not T. Law's doing, and that's why it will count as a run. And there'll be maybe 200 yards and 2-3 touchdowns not accounted for in T. Law's production that will also go to Hunter's to make Hunter a top 12 wide receiver. So people just don't look into all that. And also the college game is very different. You know, how they deploy that type of stuff, how they count it. The sacks for loss of yardage and stuff like that too in college. When you look at someone like Shador, who had like minus 50 rushing yards in college, won't have that in the pros. Like, there's a lot of different things to look at. But anyway, anything else, bro? I got to get around the phone line here.
Yeah, last thing. What are your thoughts on Brenton Strange?
I
feel like he's pretty underrated. So you don't think he has any upside?
Yeah, he does. But I don't know. It's just one of those players that, I'm just being honest with you, everybody wants to do well because they have him. You know, so it's hard to really even gauge where the general populace is on Strange, because the people making these loud, celebratory predictions already about him being the sleeper, they have him in Dynasty and they're just hoping that he's the guy. I'm not saying I don't like him. I'm not saying he can't be like last year. Let me pull up his stats from last year and just kind of look at him and extrapolate what we can. But Strange,
look at the games with no Evan.
Yeah, I know, but you still got to look at the sum total. I mean, he played the whole year, and he even got
kind of got to take him.
And he even got targets. He got more targets than ever in the beginning of the season. The first 5-6 weeks. Week 1 he didn't, but week 2, 6 targets. And 65 yards. But I don't know. There's not a lot here that pops to me where I'm saying, holy crap. I think what people are taking away from Strange, honestly, is that he was tight end 2 in week 15 against the Jets. And he had 12 targets, 11 receptions, 73 yards. No touchdowns, by the way. Only had 2 touchdowns on the year. And in both the games where he had 2 touchdowns, he had very little yardage in those games. So it's not like he brought the total package together in any one single game. He didn't. He either was good a little bit here, good a little bit here. And I just don't know. I mean, he was tight end 9, 8, 9, and 2. And the rest of his entire season, he was in the red. He was tight end 25, 37, 17, 25, 50, 43, 32, 41, and 16. I didn't skip a single game. I read off his entire game. In fact, I'll go in order.
Yeah.
Didn't play. Either he didn't play or he didn't register. I think he didn't play. So it was tight end 9, tight end 8, 25, tight end 9. So he had 3 pretty decent games at tight end 9, 8, and tight end 9. Then it was 37, didn't play, 17, didn't play, 25, 50, bye week, 43, 32, tight end 2, 41, didn't play, tight end 16. There's nothing there for me to be like, oh my God. And I wasn't enamored by watching him. And again, any touchdown he scored, and he only scored 2, came with no yardage really. So there's not enough to be what people are making this out to be. Like, oh my God, Strange is he's got a strange name. That's cool too. And I own him. And you hear, it's like my example of you're at a concert and there's 7 people at the front bars, at the very front of the crowd. And they're so loud. They're like, you suck. And there's 7 of them, but the whole stadium loves you. You're going to think that it's a mixed bag out there. Man, some people don't like us out there. And 7 people. They're just at the front. That's the way it is sometimes with these guys, in my opinion. And this feels very much like Michael Pittman Jr. hype. You know, I don't know. I could be wrong on it. We'll see.
I think, real quick, because I know I got to go. I think if you're right on this, on Britton Strange, then Hunter and BTJ have to be both wide receiver ones because there's no one else there, really. So,
yeah.
You know, somebody's got to catch the ball. But thank you, man. I appreciate
no problem.
the talk.
No problem. Strange is him, says Scott. Scott, this doesn't surprise me coming from you. But I'd love to know why you think this, Scott. What did Strange do last year that proved to you he is him? Because you're throwing that around like he had multiple amazing games when he played the entire year. Yeah, he wasn't necessarily a full-time guy, but he's tight end 31. You know, he obviously didn't have big enough games that brought him, you know, into a very relevant ranking even so, and he still played a lot. So I don't know. T-Law might make him into a 404 guy, maybe a 554 touchdown guy. Sure, that's, you know, that could work. That could happen. I mean, last year he had 411 and 2. So maybe he has 450 or 550 instead of 411. Maybe he has 55 receptions instead of 40. And maybe he has 4 touchdowns instead of 2. And he ranks like 18 or something. But I just don't know where this hype is coming from. Well, I do. It's coming from the people that picked him up. And they're really loud. They make a lot of noise. All right, hold on one second. Let me go over around the phone line real quickly. We've got Klondike on the line. Klondike, you're live. And then Travis.
What's up, Smitty?
What's up?
All right. So I love the Keaton Mitchell projection, everything. Travis Hunter being better than BTJ is like, I mean, I don't know about that one, but I love your projections. And I'm not one to say that you're a hater at all. I love what you do. But you are totally hating on the Packers. 100% hating on the Packers.
Am I? Or am I just right?
Yes.
Because
I guess it remains to be seen.
Yeah, but yeah, it's. I'm sorry. Yeah, Travis is asking, are you a Packer fan, Klondike?
I responded.
Yeah, he
yes.
is.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. So you're a Packer fan, and you think my Packer projections, because they don't align with yours, makes me a hater. That's typical. That's a typical response from somebody that doesn't like you. Like, you like other things. How am I not a hater on BTJ? Or, well, you said you also don't know about you like Keaton Mitchell. How am I not hating on Derrick Henry by liking Keaton Mitchell because you agree with it? So because you don't agree with my Packer projections, which quite honestly, I don't know are that crazy when you really break it down, right? Because what did they do last year? What did he do last year? I don't understand why it's that crazy of a situation. You know, like they took a big step backwards last year. So how am I that up? This is like when someone comes in and says I'm a Bears hater. You just hate Caleb.
Again,
do I hate Caleb, or did Caleb prove me right? Was I right on Caleb? Was I right on the Bears? Was I right on Poles? Was I right on Eberflus? Was I right on Shane Waldron?
No.
Because I was coined a hater all year, and I'm coined a hater now.
You're right about a lot.
Okay, I'm not saying I'm right about everything. I'm just saying I'm coined a hater for the Bears because I got everything right on the Bears. I'm just, my Green Bay Packer projections are not hatred. Not to mention when I said this, I said they could contend for the division. Did you ignore that when I said that? When I said that this 9 wins could go to 10, and maybe the Lions don't win 11, maybe they lose, then all of a sudden it's 10-10-10. Like, I said that.
Well,
it's going to be a crawl to the division win because I think the Lions will bring a little less consistency to the early part of their season. So at the end of the day, I literally told you that your team might be within striking distance. Maybe it's one game and it comes down to the very end. So I don't know why it's hatred because you don't agree with it. And I said that your team might be able to contend and maybe this 9 could go to 10. Maybe Love steps up a little more than I think. Golden wasn't the best receiver to take. And I know you're going to hate that because you're a Packer fan, but that's my objective that I said before it even happened.
I agree with that one.
Okay, so like, how am I not? I don't understand how it's hate. How is it hate? Because you disagree with it. That's why.
Can I step
in?
Sure.
And yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Travis.
So this is Al. New Age Outlaw.
Oh, this is Al. he doesn't
I'm just throwing it out there.
Doesn't even know his own name.
But I was going to say the Packer thing, I think it's more, we still believe in love. We kind of threw last season after the injury in that stupid overseas game, and it kind of threw our whole season. But we're not the best at fantasy football production, the team now. We're built all around steady players. We're a top-notch winning, contending team, but we're not a fantasy relevant team. And I think people are taking it that, you think we're a bad team, but we're just not that big into fantasy. You know what I mean? We're more into winning.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
All right. Real quickly, let me get BBQ, and then New Age, don't go anywhere. I might have another Green Bay question for you in a second. If Puka and Adams are going to ball, then Stafford is going to ball. Same for T-Law. Same. So many QBs, ADP discounts. 1 QB tight end leagues. Would you even bother drafting 2 QBs or tight ends? Is it better to stock the bench with running backs, wide receiver depth? It depends on your league. If your league, when you're in the final round and Tua's out there and someone's leaving, like Darnold's out there, Tua's out there, a bunch of quarterbacks are out there. Not just like one starter is barely left. Then you have to have a backup. But I play in a league where you can always get a Tua, especially if it's a 10-man league or something. And so you just got to judge that for yourself. I would never not grab a second quarterback if it's going to be to the point where you're going to struggle if injury happens. If you can just go grab somebody, fine. But I'm also somebody that personally loves the idea of trading one of those big name quarterbacks later if things go right. So if I draft JD5 like I did, like we did, like we all did last year, and we draft JD5 and then we swing back in and, earlier on we drafted, Hurts or Josh Allen. Then you got trade bait. I'm usually one of those guys. I usually have that going on. Best ball, I bully QB all the time. But in non-best ball, I would say tight end, I do usually not grab a backup. And if you had like a Kelsey Gray, Noah Gray will be on waivers. And that also depends what waivers look like. So I think you got to know your own league. 10-man leagues for sure. It's much easier. 12-man leagues, it really depends on the league. But I think me answering that question blanket statement-wise would be smart. But it's a great question. And, I'm just more of a guy that has, the 2 of those big name QBs. I just usually do. Thank you for the super chat, my boy. Dropping another piece of fire, $20 hauler. And everybody thank BBQ and New Age for the gifted memberships as well. And then BBQ dropping yet another super chat, $10 hauler. Respect and honor to the heroes of the day who faced withering firestorms, storming the beaches of Normandy 81 years ago. Thank you, BBQ, for that as well. BBQ to the mother freaking moon. All right, back to, I want to say Klondike, and then we got a new caller at the 203. So Klondike, real quickly, wrap it up. Thank you, BBQ.
Golden's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver. Packers are going to get 12 wins. Jordan's going to throw for over 4,000 yards. And you're going to be, like, sitting pretty with me at the season.
Love it.
What? I'm going to be sitting pretty with you. Why?
At the season's end. I was going to say, like, because I don't bet against you, Smitty. Like, I love your projections. Like, I love what you do. But I'm just saying, 9-8, nah, not happening.
Okay. All right, Klondike, hold on. Hang tight. New Age, you were going to say something, then I want to go over to the new caller.
Oh, I just love his prediction.
I bet you do.
I hope it comes true. But
Green Bay. You got a bunch of Green Bay fans on the phone. What is it, a Green Bay happy hour? Okay.
Hey, it's the NFC North, show.
203, you're live. Tell me you're not a Green Bay Packer fan, because I can't take any more of this. Go ahead.
No, I'm not. I was just calling in. I was wondering what you thought about what to do with Cole Kmet now in Dynasty with Colson Loveland on the team.
Try and trade him to anybody that doesn't know what's going on. I mean, Cole Kmet, if he got dropped in a Dynasty league and I didn't desperately need a tight end, I don't even think I'd observe it. I just probably look past it. You know, I'd rather have like let me give you an example. I got JCM in a dynasty league, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. I got Shador. I got Fannin Jr. If you dropped Cole Kmet, I couldn't drop one of those guys for Cole Kmet. So I can't pick up Cole Kmet if you dropped him.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any value for you. He might get traded and then there's something, but I can't hold on to him. If those guys I just named are available in Dynasty, I'd rather grab them right now. Especially JCM.
Yeah, so what do you think about then, like, Puka Nacua this year? Because I know you were high on him last year, but he didn't really work out. Like, now that they got Cam Moore.
I think it was the year prior. But yeah, we loved Puka Nacua 2 years ago. And he didn't do crap. He didn't do diddly.
Got competition now too.
And
Gunnar Helm.
Yeah, I would say a Conquo. You know, I like the way Ward looks. Ward looks really good right now. Ward could be top 10, top 11, top 12. Hard to say though. Hard to say. Troy says, Smitty, you keep cutting out. I don't think so. I think that's you, my boy. Is anybody hearing me cut in and out? I know there's a click on the phone line. That happens when we get too many people on the phone line. Travis got redeemed because it wasn't Travis. It's whenever we get multiple people on the phone line that it starts to click a little. But I don't think, Troy, it's clicking out. I think you're just hearing a click.
At the very beginning of the show, it did a couple of times, but I didn't see it since then. And I just called in a few minutes ago.
Okay.
But I'll go back and look at it too. Make sure.
Just, scroll down on your phone, bro, unless you don't have unlimited data, and turn off your Wi-Fi for a second and see if that fixes it. Okonkwo, my answer would be, if he got cut, I'd be in the same damn exact situation. I don't think I could pick him up for and have to drop one of those guys. If I had let me think of an example. If I had like a tight end like
Brendan Strange.
Yeah, if I had Strange, I'd be in a dilemma. I'd be like, who do I pick up? I'd rather have Strange. I'd rather have Strange over Kmet and over Okonkwo, if that gives you any sort of fuzzy, warm feelings about my Strange prediction.
Yeah, because like what's crazy is, I was just asking because in my dynasty league I had Kmet, and my only other tight ends were Strange and Kincaid. So I was like, do I just drop Kmet? And then I look and like, who's on the waiver? It says Okonkwo or Gesicki, and it's like,
I think Gesicki. I think I might like Gesicki over Strange, over Okonkwo, and over Kmet. For sure over Kmet. I think I'd go with Gesicki.
Yeah.
Give me the Bengal boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I personally, bro, they just signed into a deal. They're going to use him. I like Gesicki a lot more. I don't know that it ends the way I want, but I would take the chance on him. All right, my boy.
Okay.
Later. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Klondike, any final words?
No, that's all I got.
All right. Later, bro. Go Packers. Not. Oh, shoot. New Age is still on the line. I mean, yeah. What's up, New Age?
They're still suck.
New Age, final thoughts.
I just was wondering, what are the odds you think? It would be kind of cool to see Kyle Pitts go over to Jacksonville.
Ooh, yeah. Man.
I could see it.
Imagine how strange that would be. Imagine how mad people would be.
Cool, but I'd rather the targets just be there for the running back.
Yeah, I'm with Travis. I don't want that.
But it would make that offense nasty. I mean, it would be a great pickup for him.
You know what's crazy is it's not a crazy thought that Cohen would be thinking like that. Look what he did to trade up to get Travis Hunter. But yeah, that would be interesting. Green Bay wide receiver room is the jack of all trades and master of none. That's exactly the case. And I think even New Age would admit that. But Jaden Reed should be the master of a couple different categories, but they just don't use Jaden Reed like they should. They don't deploy him right.
Has Love produced a 1,000-yard receiver? I don't think so. When's the last time Packers really, besides Devontae,
Let's ask Kruger. I don't think Kruger knows these kinds of things. He's really bad. Hey, Kruger, what is the most amount of receiving yards Jordan Love has produced for a wide receiver?
Hey, the most receiving yards a wide receiver has had with Jordan Love, a quarterback, is around 1,100 yards in a single season. That's his top mark so far.
Who?
No problem. Let me know if you need anything else.
No, Kruger, what wide receiver? Give me evidence.
Got it. The wide receiver who's had the most receiving yards with Jordan Love so far is Christian Watson. In the 2024 season, he racked up about 1,100 receiving yards with...
What? Hold on.
Not even close.
What?
What? Christian Watson.
I love you, Kruger.
He's so bad. Does he mean Christina Watson? Does he mean Christina Watson or Christian Watson? Because I don't. Christian Watson had. Jeez. 611, 422, 620. I knew he wasn't right, but I wanted to
I can't take it.
Kruger.
I think he read his career yards.
I think he did. He said 1,000. No, he said 1,100 though. So I don't know.
Oh,
Kruger. Let's see if Pablo.
I think the most was last year.
Let's see if
Jaden Reed.
Let's see if Pablo knows. Hey Pablo, what's up, my boy? I want to get some Fuego predictions from you. What was the most amount of receiving yards a receiver has ever had under the command of Jordan Love, the Green Bay Packer quarterback?
Yo, what's good? All right, let's talk some football Fuego. The most receiving yards by a receiver under Jordan Love's time as the Green Bay Packers quarterback belongs to Jaden Reed. In 2024, Reed racked up 857 yards with 55 catches and 6 touchdowns, leading the team. That's the high mark for any receiver with Love throwing the ball. You want more predictions or stats, my dude?
We're good. Thank you, Pablo. All right, New Age. We'll see you later, my bro. Appreciate you.
Deuces, man.
Thank you for drop your New Age Outlaw emoji for the man that gave you a gifted membership, or just anyway. Travis, final thoughts. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. Or I'm sorry, midnight Eastern. Maybe 12:30.
Yeah, just on Strange, I think like he could maybe be like Otten was in that Tampa system last year. I think he had like 600 with 4 touchdowns, and like we've talked about before, Cohen really is building it very similar to what he had in Tampa with 2 stud receivers and multiple backs that can do different things, and Strange kind of fits that mold of an Otten where he can do something with it and be a good tight end, but he's probably never going to be in that position unless someone gets
hard to say.
So, I mean, he'll have games like you read off last year where he had a couple of games that were serviceable or good. I wouldn't count on him to be a top 10 guy for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's upside, but I think people are just it's these people that pick up a player like that, and they think that he's going to have this. They just want it so badly. It's kind of like I don't want to say it. Gump, go ahead, Gump. What can I do for you?
I see. I just got here. I had to do a lot of chores. I see that you're doing the NFC list tonight. I missed it. So, would you say the Lions are going to win 17 games?
BBQ Puka. I think I got this one. Respect to the. Okay, I got both the super chats from BBQ. I just want to make sure I took care of those. Lions 11-6. Win the division. Listen, Gump, get the earwax out of your ear real quick. Right. Lions win the division barely. They crawl to it because they got to recover from a slow start. 11-6. 11.
Oh, I'm hurting over here.
11-6. The Vikings 10-7.
You're beating me up like
the Green Bay. I just told you your team won the division. Stop complaining.
Barely.
You lost your offensive coordinator, Gump.
Oh, Ben Weasel? Gosh, I'm Weasel over here.
Ben Weasel. Like, can you guys imagine in the chat wanting Ben Johnson gone? Like, what kind of fan doesn't understand what he did for your team? Are you the type of person? Are you like the Giant fans that want to burn Barkley's jersey because Barkley got abused?
He called the play that ended our whole division run last year to the Super Bowl.
What about getting you there? What
point,
about getting you there? What about getting you there, Gump? He got you there.
Not so fast like Lee Corso says. Not so
You know
fast.
what I love is when a player doesn't.
He made God.
When a player doesn't convert on something, it's Ben Johnson's fault. When a player
They're
makes
the best team in the NFL. Hey.
Huh? Gump, you don't. I'm sorry, but you don't know. You don't even watch football on Sundays. You watch the replay.
I've been keeping tabs for a long, long time.
You're like Ted McMillan. You're like T-Mac. You don't even watch football.
I like Jameson Williams better than all that stuff.
All right, Gump, anything else?
I like Kate Radledge, rookie. Hey, when was the last time offensive lineman became
Gump, you lost. Did you lose your center? Did you lose your center? Did you lose your center?
Okay, when was the last time an offensive lineman?
Did you answer the question? Did you lose your center?
When?
Did you?
No, we got Kate Radledge.
Did you lose your center?
Man,
did you? Just answer.
Yeah, we got one named Kate.
Did you lose your offensive coordinator and your all-pro center?
No.
Yeah, you did. That. You think things are getting better? Hold on, I gotta merge in. I don't understand how you think things are gonna get better when you lose a.
Oh, they are. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Stop whispering to me. All right, Gump, I gotta go. Anything else?
No, come on. You can't ditch
don't.
the Lions like that. How can you ditch the Lions to get away with it?
Anybody listen to this
Come on,
guy?
Smitty.
You know, just for that, Gump, I'm gonna knock you down to.
I'll buy you a rookie. Listen. I'll buy you a Pepsi. Switch over right now, Lions fan.
Just for that, I'm giving the Lions 10 wins. Just for that, I'm knocking them down.
Oh my God!
They're no longer winning the division.
Finish him.
Oh.
Call
Klondike, real quickly. I'm out of here.
Did you hang up on Gus?
Yes, of course I did.
Dang it.
What else can I do?
I just want to tell Gump the Packers winning the division. I just want to.
All right, Gump, call back real quick so Klondike and you can go at it like Elon and Donald real quick. Go ahead. Dial in real quick, Gump. Just make it snappy. I don't know which one to use Elon and which one to use Donald, but this should be interesting. No curse words. Keep it clean, or you're never calling in again. You hear me? Same thing with you, Gump. If Gump even calls in. Travis, final thoughts while we await that maybe situation to happen. Any final thoughts?
Oh yeah, no. I'll just on the Strange thing. I think the other thing is he used Ingram so much that I think people think it's just going to translate, and they're not the same type of player. Ingram's athletic, moves around, where Strange is more of a traditional tight end.
Elon.
I think that's another
Elon.
reason why
Gump, call back in. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Anything else from the projections tonight? Klondike hung up.
No, I'm good. I'll call back. Klondike hung up. I think Gump's probably Elon.
Yeah, probably. I think he's got to be. All right. We'll see you later. Oh, here's Klondike one more time. Hold on, Travis. All right, we're waiting for.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, we're waiting for Gump. I don't know that Gump's calling back in. He doesn't do real well with instructions. So, I've told him to call back in, and he's in the chat going, come on, that's so messed up. He's, still chatting. He's not hearing me say, Gump, call in one more time real quickly. He's not hearing me. Everybody get Gump's attention. Gump! Gump, call back in. The Donald's waiting for you.
I'm definitely Elon, by the way.
I don't know about you. Let us be the judge of that. All right, he's not calling back. He doesn't understand. All right, we'll see you later, Klondike. We'll see you later, Travis. Anything else?
All right.
Later, Klondike.
No, I'm good.
We'll see.
I'll talk to you later.
Bro.
Thanks.
All All right, we're out of here. Gump's going to call in on the outro. I almost guarantee it. There's the division right there. Lions crawl to the division win. Vikings are in the mix. Green Bay. Either one, people don't hear me. Either one of the Packers or Vikings could fight to the bitter end for this division win. But I think this division struggles a little more as a whole than people expect. I will see you all tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, live when big news breaks. Live most midnights Eastern. Live at 8 p.m. Eastern. Live when big news breaks Eastern. Doing it live. See you all tonight. BBQ dropping a final super chat on the way out the door. It reads, "Hey Smitty, I've never drafted best ball until this year. Having so much fun. Thanks for the info. Having a blast." Thank you, BBQ. Everybody drop a BBQ emoji, please, and a New Age Outlaw emoji on the way out the door. Appreciate you all. Drop a Travis Hunter emoji on the way out the door. Thank you, BBQ. Thank you to all my super chatters. Thank you, Sean, Daniel, Alex, David W, Mr. T, BBQ, 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 BBQ. Appreciate you. Deuces.